Hey guys, we're going on an adventure. Today we're going to the bog. We're going to knit, we're going to sit, and we're going to hash out how we're feeling. Let's go. So this is the bog. Welcome. I'm so happy that I brought you guys here. And I'm really excited about today's topic. So let's find a spot to set up and knit and sit and enjoy the sunshine. There's some mosquitoes, just a couple, just a pinch, and I'm hoping it stays that way. I'm getting kind of shy because this is like right off the trail, but I have to remind myself that no one cares. No one cares. And it's kind of the theme of today that I have to talk about is perfectionism and it ruining our arts and crafts and making everything stupid. Okay, we're still working on this hat, everyone. When am I going to get over it? Don't know. I don't reach for knitting outside of winter. And I started this late in the game and then I fucked it up really bad. So I was like, I don't want to finish it, but I'm making myself. Today we're talking about perfectionism and just what's been going on in life, in my brain, failing at stuff. You know, I've been kind of planning all my summer things, my summer content, my summer pattern I want to work on, you know, whatever. And I've kind of been putting off working on a new pattern because in all honesty, the gardener's gown didn't do that good. And that's okay because it was my best pattern. I learned a lot from that experience. And I think it led me down this rabbit hole where I was like, why am I so obsessed with everything becoming profitable and good? And, you know, there's a balance to that because obviously also I have to have an income to exist in society. I've kind of always had in my spiral of learning perfectionism and phases of it where I'm like super obsessed with a routine and an organization to my life. And I was just in that, like pretty much moving out of the truck camper. I think I was just craving stability in all ways. So I was like, oh my God, I need to go to yoga every day. I need to, you know, do this, do that. I need to make, like, I was just so on my own ass to be working because in the truck camper I worked, but it was very casual. And now I moved back here and I was like, okay, I'm taking my work seriously and I'm not letting anything stand in my way. And, you know, that was really great for a little bit. And then I got totally burnt out in the wintertime and I worked the gardener's gown. I was like pressuring myself to release another pattern. And the dress design wasn't quite up to what I wanted it to be. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm going to just have to do it anyways. I have to do it anyways. And I kept taking forever to do it because I was so obsessed with it being perfect and being better. And then like, I'm obviously always still learning sewing skills. So I would learn something and I was like, oh, should I change this? You know, I recently just learned how to finish edges without a overlocking machine because I got into sewing and was gifted one, like a used one from my boyfriend's grandma really soon into my sewing journey. So I never had to learn that. And I was working at a sewing shop. So they were just like, you can just overlock everything. And I was like, oh, cool. But then it was like designing patterns, you know, you get the perspective of everyone. And I started realizing like, oh, not everyone has that. And there's actually a really big price barrier to these. So just telling people to put the zigzag stitch like isn't really cutting it for me anymore. So I was like, I went on a little self-induced journey of learning some new ways to finish garments, like French seams and, you know, that sort of thing. And it was really cool. And I spent a lot of my winter in my burnt out time doing other people's patterns, which was really awesome because I feel like I learned a lot about myself, about the clothes I want to make. You know, I finally started making things that I was like, wow, I made that. Like, you know, zipper flies and correct buttonholes. And I've been sharing that on here with you guys, obviously, which has been really fun for me. And I really enjoy YouTube. So I kind of was like, what do I want to do this summer to, you know, encapsulate that? And I have a couple pattern ideas. And when I moved back here, I had this vision. I was like, I'm going to release 7 patterns. I'm moving in November. So I was like, I'm going to have 7 patterns done by the time I leave Michigan, and I do this and I do that. And I had all these like insane goals that not necessarily aren't possible, but were so intense. And it was like, do I even like this pattern? And so I went through releasing the gardener's gown. I really love it. You know, it's a little more not everyone's style sort of thing. And it didn't sell that well. And that, as of now, and that's okay. And I think that's been something I've been grappling with, is like, I was in a low point, just wanting winter to be done and not really having any friends to hang out with, and being like, oh my God, and this didn't sell that well, you know? And it, obviously, whenever that happens, it pushes you in a new direction. Like when I moved to Oregon in the camper and we were there and we were going to be there for a little bit to make some money, I started doing markets. Get off of me, pugs. Which is what I've always done in the past to make money and sell my art. And every market I did, I sold nothing. I did multiple markets where I sold nothing, sold nothing, sold nothing. And so I was like, fuck, what do I need to do to figure this out? And, you know, it led down me posting on social media. I started gaining followers. I shared the baggies, those blew up. And I was like, oh my God, I should learn how to make a sewing pattern for these because everyone's asking for one, yada, yada, blah, blah. Here I am. So obviously redirection in this way where like, I didn't do that great on my last pattern. Not that I'm going to quit pattern making. I'm still have patterns on the standby, but it kind of made me pivot. And I was like, why am I so obsessed with the pattern, making the money and doing the thing? And there's always been this little voice in the back of my head that's like, I should do YouTube. I love making videos. I love editing videos. And so I was like, I should really just listen to that calling to start sharing the things I want to sew. And so I did. And thus far it's been going really well. So that's cool. But I have had this overarching perfectionism and obsession with everything being done in this way that I have been just like constricting my ability to exist. And now it's just been getting me kind of into like, why am I such a perfectionist about things? Like, I just need to create, produce, let it go. To release my second pattern and it not do that good was so tough. It was tough, you know? It like kind of feels like a failure. And, you know, I had applied for an artist in residency this summer. I didn't get it. Tough. Like a lot of tough things that I was like, fuck, I didn't get it. So what now? Like I had kind of been banking on those things. I hashed that out with myself and was just kind of sitting with it. And I was like, damn, what now? And there was always this whole time as I was applying for stuff, getting denied, there was this voice in the back of my head that was like, dude, how long have you been talking about wanting to do YouTube? I wanted to do YouTube last summer, didn't do it because I was obsessed with being a perfectionist about it. And then this January, I was able to afford a camera and a mic, which was huge for me because they're expensive. They're so expensive. And I was like, oh my God, I can afford this. And now, you know, I can film YouTube videos. And I was still just doing Patreon videos and my tutorials for sewing patterns. And I was like, motherfucker, a year ago, you said that once you get a camera, you're going to make YouTube videos. You got a camera and you're not doing them. Why? And I feel like that was this debacle I was having. And I realized it's because I was so obsessed with like, I don't know enough about YouTube. I'm not that good at editing. I don't have a computer to edit on. I don't know this. I don't know that. And my editing takes a week if I want to do it, whatever. And so I've been doing this thing with myself where it's like, no, you have one day to edit your video. Sometimes two, if I have to like wiggle in some other shit. But I don't rewatch it 3 times. I don't do, whatever. And letting go of like being obsessed with how I am perceived by you. And I feel like everyone needs to do that. Like, especially if you're an artist, you're aspiring to share your shit online, or just sharing your shit at markets even is hard, because it's like you're opening yourself up, you're standing there and you're being seen, and you're saying, this is what I made. I am standing by my price points. I'm standing by the art I created, and being comfortable in that is fucking hard. But you are literally such a brave girl, and you can do it. And so can I. And I think there's this like thing that people think that like because you have a following or because you are doing the thing that you're not scared of it. And that's such bullshit, Like, I finish every video being like, is anyone gonna watch this? This is kind of dumb. Do I even share it? Do I even edit it? That's gonna be a lot of work. And what if no one even likes it? And it's hard to do stuff and put a lot of effort into something and wait and see how it's received. And I realized that fear, that like that like ick about waiting for it to be seen is literally just rooted in being perfect and being like, no, but it's not going to be good unless X, Y, Z. And that's just not true, you guys. And this is a lesson I have learned over and over and over again. And it just obviously shows up in a new way. And in that is like me being in the middle of something and it not being perfect, and it being messy, and it being shitty, and it being new is really hard for me. That's life. That is, you are always in the middle of something. And my friend Anna, shout out Anna, bestie, she just ran a fucking marathon because she's a baddie, her 3rd marathon, and she did really fast and is like trying to qualify for the Boston Marathon. She did, but she doesn't know yet if she like does. You have to apply in September, all this stuff. But she said something I loved. And she had said how if you met every single goal you had today, what would you work on tomorrow? And that is such a good perspective that I hadn't really thought of. And it's something so simple that clicks you right in the brain. You're like, oh, duh. Like, if I got everything I wanted that's written on my whiteboard of all my little dreams and goals all at one time, what would I work on tomorrow? And how would that dream change? And would I still want it today? I don't know. And that's why it's like that shit comes up when it's ready to come up. And I'm ready to receive that, but I'm still in the middle of not knowing what's to come and taking steps forward anyways, toward YouTube, toward pattern designing, toward moving. And it's just like hard to be in the middle of that and then come online and be like, So I wrote down some really good affirmations this morning that I wanted to share with you guys about how I've been feeling about this. I don't know if you're feeling this vibe. Full moon is this weekend, so maybe you are. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. It's full moon Aries too. And I'm an Aries. Bitch. Okay. I'm an artist who holds the capacity to overflow with abundance. Abundance financially, abundance creatively, abundance opportunely. I hold the capacity to have more than just enough to get by. I love myself in the midst of life, unsure and moving anyways. I take steps forward regardless of my ability to decipher whether or not they are right. I trust my internal compass to know. I am a powerful earth healer. It's something I say every time I practice yoga. It's something I say every day. It's tattooed on my arm in Spanish. Like, it's always been very important to me. But those are my perfectionist bye-bye affirmations that I've just kind of been saying lately. Anywho, that's what's up with that. What else is going on in my life? Oh, I have been making friends. I've been having a really hard time making adult friends. Again, with the perfectionism of I need to produce, I need to do more, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need it all to show up in a certain way. Was isolating myself. It was also winter time, so I was fucking in a deep, dark hole of doubt about everything. And I didn't have a support system because I had isolated myself for so long. And I started a craft club with my friends. Steal this idea if you want to. Some people I knew really well, some people I didn't. It has blossomed into this amazing gathering weekly that just lights my fucking soul on fire. And if you are, I'm 24, if you're like mid 20s, it's really hard to make friends, and it's really hard to stay in touch with your friends because everyone's busy and trying to get their shit done. But I have been doing this weekly hangout, in the wintertime, we had a strict 8 p.m. bedtime. So it was like a 2-hour hang and just a reoccurring connection. And I have from it made some of the best friends ever. And, it's the brink of summer. I know we're about to have so much fun. And it just feels so refreshing to hang out with people and know you're going to see them again and have a set time every week to connect with others. And that has really helped me also with the resurfacing of perfectionism issues I've always had oh my God. Okay. Hold on, guys. Bug is on my face. You got to stop it, dude. Just, you keep your space and I will keep mine and we can get along. Okay. Thank you. Anyhow, I have always struggled a little bit with perfectionism, not forever. It goes away. Obviously, when you learn from it and then you adapt a new life and whatever, it goes away. It comes back though, in a different way, in a different layer that I have to relearn again. Obviously, uncomfortable and not fun, but we do it anyways. And something that the craft night has really taught me is I don't want to hang out with people every single day. However, sometimes the reason I don't want to hang out with people is because I'm so obsessed with appearing a certain way. And having a reoccurring every night, pretty much no negotiations unless, someone's gone or whatever, we have craft night. And maybe, my house is a mess. Or maybe I don't like anything I'm wearing that day. Or maybe my skin's breaking out. Or whatever it is, it doesn't matter because craft night is happening. And you have to go anyways and show up and talk about shit not being great. Talk about shit being great. Talk about successes, talk about failures. And I've never really had that many friends that I feel comfortable sharing like how I'm really feeling about stuff. So on that note, we have to do shit anyways. We have to come sit outside right off the trail and be like, if someone walks by, I have to just say hi and accept that there's a camera right here and I'm filming myself. I don't care. I have to make a pattern, watch it fail, deal with it anyways. I think that there's a bald eagle flying. At the end of the day, if you don't do it imperfect, it doesn't get done. So you should just do it fucking anyway. And that has been what I've been sitting with in May and working on and just kind of being aware of. And it's been nice because I also have been able to make really good friendships, be really open, try and talk to people at yoga class and be like, oh, that was awkward, but I said hi to someone and that's okay. And not take on everything as something I need to do perfectly, but just something I need to do however I can right now. And it's funny because I started saying those affirmations and I started doing those things and fucking obviously opportunities financially have been rolling in, opportunities just creatively that are cool as fuck have been coming to my mind. Like, I just feel it's funny how that works when you just decide I'm letting something go and it might show up again, but you said, no, but I'm letting you go. And you might have to say it 100 times before you let it go. And it's probably going to come up again 5 years from now, 2 months from now, whatever. And you're going to have to continually let it go. Like me with perfectionism. Around my art, around my life, around everything. All of the art that I'm creating right now, I hope you understand, is rooted in the letting go of being a perfectionist. And that's so powerful and it creates such fun new things. And I'm loving it. So that has been great. I planted a garden, tending to that daily and letting go of the possibility of what's going to happen has been great. And just watering it weeding it, doing maintenance and taking care of the shit instead of obsessing about it being perfect and it producing what I want it to, and not being obsessed with that end goal, and instead being obsessed with how can I just show up for it right now as I am. So that's been my life. And I'm really pulling on 22-year-old Madie's energy, who started Dumpster Slayer for no fucking apparent reason and just started selling shit at the farmer's market and had no clue what she was doing. I was able to let go of my work. And the more serious this has become to me, obviously, the more it has grown. And that leaves you in this weird place where it's like, but if I'm not working all the time and I'm not perfecting it all the time, then I'm not actually working toward my goals. And that's just not true. So that's kind of all I have to say today. That's been my May. I have obviously some new videos coming out in June. I have a really cool project this summer that will be shared soon that I'm so excited about, that I can't believe is actually happening, and having the funds to make it happen is so amazing, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. So that's going to be on here. If you want to, my newsletter has all of the updates more work-wise and what I'm working on, what I'm doing, what I'm offering in the following months. I send one every month. It's linked in the description of this video, so you can check that out. If not, this is kind of where I just hash out what I'm feeling, what I'm doing, what I'm thinking about every month, and what the focus is. And that's what's going on behind the scenes of my art, you know? So cool to share that. I am working on a new pattern really slowly. I wanted to really focus on YouTube this month, so I was doing that and kind of sorting my summer plans. I have 2 really awesome in-person events coming up this summer in Michigan. If you are in the area, also all of that information is on my website and on my newsletter, so check that out. And yeah, I love you guys. I love making these videos. And if you're feeling these like stupid perfectionist vibes and letting them go as the sun comes out and you're like, oh, nothing matters, I'm a beach bum, you know, let me know. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know if you relate to this. Whatever. You can just comment it. I'll answer you. Okay. Love you guys. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you later. Bye.